Welcome to the Trust Factor Radio, bringing you interviews and insights to unlock the power of the subconscious mind to create authority, credibility, and trust. With your host, the Authority Architect, and best-selling author, Neil Howe.
Hello, and welcome to the show. This is your host, Neil Howe, and today my special guest is Steve Luther. He is the co-founder and chief troublemaker of CHORD Real Estate, and has been a top broker and realtor in Middle Tennessee since 2002. He has extensive experience in new construction and development and investor sales. And Steve came to real estate from the technology sector with a background in digital marketing. But recognizing a surprising void in the marketplace of Nashville real estate, Steve assembled a team of unique experts to develop a boutique concierge brokerage catering to premier sports, entertainment, and international clientele, as well as other creatives and entrepreneurs. Ashley Luther, Steve's wife and managing broker, is a certified international property specialist and speaks fluent Japanese. Their business partner, Van Hohe, CHORD's chief experience officer, comes from the music industry and is accomplished in brand marketing and design. And CHORD Nashville is uniquely resourced to provide residential and commercial clients with unmatched level of service, no matter the price point. Steve Luther, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, make sure I got the name of your business partner correct. Van, what's his last name there?
It's pronounced Hohe.
Hohe.
Yes. He's gotten a lot of different variations of it.
Yeah. Well, I get that as well. My last name's Howe, and I get lots of holes all the time. So you just never know. All right, Steve. Well, thanks for being on with me today. I want to talk about real estate. Obviously, you did see a void in the marketplace. But before we really get into that, give me a little bit more about yourself and your background and how you ended up where you are right now.
Sure. So I grew up in Houston, Texas. Actually, went to college there. Got a degree in business administration with a concentration on information systems. So I was in the IT world for about 10 years. Traveled a lot, moved to Maryland for a brief period, and then ended up in Nashville. Went through the dot bomb, decided I wanted to do something different, actually got into investment real estate. And I bought and sold homes several times over the years, just kind of moving around and with the investment properties, and just wasn't super excited about the level of service I was getting from my real estate agent. So I thought it was something I could do better, and that kind of prompted me to get into the industry.
And it's one of those things. Once you get into the real estate industry, it's, you see something that's lacking, and it's a great industry to be in if you know how to do it properly. So tell me about this void that you recognized in the Nashville area.
So initially, when I got into real estate, there really wasn't a lot of online marketing. People weren't really using technology to its fullest ability. So initially, when I got in, I really wanted to bring my IT background to bear and do some things that just I didn't see any other agents doing. Over the years, as we went through the recession, I was looking for basically other things we could do to improve our level of service and improve our customer experience. Brought on Van to do some design work. Ended up meeting and marrying Ashley, and she kind of brought the international flair to it. But there really wasn't anyone here pushing sports and entertainment international. And Nashville was a growing market. Obviously, a lot of people come here wanting to get into the music business. And there wasn't a brokerage out there that was really holding their hand up and saying, hey, we're the sports and entertainment international guys. So I thought that was a niche that we could well serve. In general, over the years, we've always looked at best practices in other industries and tried to figure out how can we incorporate those into real estate to improve our customer experience, to do a better job. A lot of the real estate training, when you go to some of the other companies out there, typical sales, it's all a numbers game, list as much as you can. And at the end of the day, if you only sell half, you've made a good living. I never really liked that philosophy. I always thought, well, the 50% that didn't sell probably don't think that's a great a great philosophy either. So, we always came from the standpoint of we're hired to do a job and we're going to do the best job we can do. So we've had a very high success rate over the almost 18 years that I've been in business. We've virtually 100% of everything we've listed, we have sold. So we don't have those high expiration rates that a lot of agents have. And that's just because of the things we do that just no one else is really doing. So that's always been important to us.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I say all the time about, when somebody goes to choose a real estate agent, they really have no idea what to look for in a good real estate agent. So first of all, tell me, what is missing from real estate agents? What are they not doing for the clients that you're doing for them?
Sure. It's kind of interesting. The real estate industry, a lot of people that get into it, it's a second career. It's something to do in retirement. Or there's a spouse that's the breadwinner. So it's almost a hobby for a lot of people to get into it. So, the first thing I would say is make sure that the agent you're looking for is full time and is really trying to make a go of it. I see so many part-time agents out there that just they just don't do enough business to know what they don't know. Mm-hmm. The other things I would say is take a look at marketing plans. If you're trying to sell a home, there's certain things that you just have to do these days. There's so much online. You've got to have professional photography. I still see listings hit the market today that either don't have photos or that have photos from someone's cell phone that are just dark and grainy, and they didn't bother to move the trash. And it's just insane to me how anybody would list something without professional photography now. And then we also we provide staging for all of our listings. I think that makes a tremendous difference. When someone can make an emotional connection with a home, it's a whole lot easier for them to justify purchasing that home than if they come in and there's trash or things need to be painted or there's some upkeep issues. So we really try to address a lot of that stuff on the front end, and I think it's key for agents today to do that kind of thing.
Definitely, and it makes a difference. Do you know offhand what the average time on market is for homes in your area?
It fluctuates, and it's a hard number to really pinpoint because a lot of agents will expire listings every 30 days to keep the count low. Mm-hmm. The averages are definitely down. Over the last few years, the market has been really strong. So it's probably in the 45 to 47 day range now. We actually, over the course of the 17 and a half years I've been doing this, we average right around 4 days on market. And that's just because of the work we do on the front end.
Really? I mean, just some of the basic stuff, tell me about some of the things that you do using your tech and your online background that really helps that property be seen by people when you list it.
Sure. So, we kind of treat a listing as almost like a movie release, right? You've got this big buildup to the day you list. So, we do a lot of pre-marketing to our database. We have some online tech that tracks what people are looking for in terms of area, price points, et cetera. And so we can match properties, with the people that are searching for those things before it ever hits the market, and we can pitch to them. We have a large database that we maintain as well that we can pitch properties to. A large database of investors. There's a lot of online forums where you can get in front of realtors with coming soons. That also applies to the buy side. If we have a buyer need, we can go out to those forums and see if anybody has anything that's not on the market. So we do a lot of off market sales and purchases. While that's happening, we bring in our designer. So we have an in-house designer, and we do kind of a room by room report. Here's all the things that we recommend to make the home show its absolute best. And we also have a concierge on staff, so we can manage any kind of updates and repairs that need to be done. We're always looking at ROI, so we're never going to ask somebody to do something that they're not going to get a return on. But we're trying to make sure that the home show is its absolute best. Once that's done, we bring in the professional photographer, videographer, get everything ready to go. We do full 360 VR tours, drone video and photography, full motion video walkthroughs. We really try to get as much media as we can to use in different places. Then we go into mass marketing. So we push out the listing to over 900 sites in the U.S., over 100 sites globally. We also have an affiliation with a global marketing network called Leverage. So that allows us to get in front of a lot of the luxury brokers that are independent throughout the world. And then what we do is we get into a lot of targeted marketing, and this is where I see a lot of agents kind of don't take this extra step. We're looking to try and figure out what's the most likely buyer look like in terms of demographics, psychographics. What are their interests and behaviors? Based on that, what are the different platforms that particular type of buyer might be on? Whether that's digital or whether that's print. Sometimes we'll do postcard campaigns if it makes sense for that particular buyer profile. But as we're profiling the buyers, it's allowing us to tailor a message for each specific buyer profile, and it's allowing us to figure out what's the best way to get in front of that buyer. So when we're launching the home on the MLS, we've got all that kind of set up and ready to go. So day one, it's hopefully in front of the right eyeballs.
Well, there's no much wonder that the home's only on the market for four days on average or less when you do all that kind of stuff.
Average.
Exactly.
That's the average.
Well, talk to me about some of the misconceptions, because I'm sure when people think about hiring a real estate, they're not thinking about having somebody do all that kind of stuff for them. They're just, hopefully their aunt can help them out or something like that.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting to me. Generally, it's one of the largest investments that someone has, and so often I see them choosing a realtor based on a relationship, whether it's a friend, relative, somebody they know from the country club, whatever it may be, and they don't look at it as a business decision, and you really have to step back and think, wait a minute, this is one of the largest assets I own. There's a lot of money involved with this. I really need to find the person that is the most qualified, that is going to get me the best return. Just so often people make an emotional decision around a home rather than a business decision.
Mm-hmm. So obviously working with a real estate agent, there is a commission fee in there. What do you say, what value do you bring, and what value is there with working with a real estate agent to sell a house or buy a house rather than trying to do it yourself?
Statistically, agent sold homes sell for much higher than for sell by owners. That's a well-known number across the country. You kind of have to look at a few things. One, what kind of exposure can you get as a for sale by owner versus the things that we do. There's really just limited availability of the places that you can market your property if you're not using an agent. You also have to look at, is it worth the risk? There's so many legal issues that can come up that if you're not doing this every day, you don't know what to look for. And so you can get yourself in a situation where, you may end up in a lawsuit that you didn't plan on that's going to cost you a lot of money. And also it's a convenience fee. I mean, people are busy and it's hard to be available for showings. And, if you can't get into a property to take a look at it, it's going to be hard for someone to make an offer on it. So, it's kind of a combination of those three things. It's exposure, it's risk, and it's just convenience.
So ultimately the value is there in the end. If you're able to sell it for a higher price than they would themselves, it makes all sense to me. All right, Steve, well, talk to me about some of the clientele that you deal with, the sports industry, entertainment, as well as international clients. What kind of homes are they looking to buy?
Sure. So it's interesting when we talk about working with the entertainment industry. A lot of people assume that we're working with all these celebrities and doing all these $1 million homes. The reality is, 90% of the music industry does not make a ton of money. We work with a lot of the crew people, the lighting guys, the sound guys, the people that are doing the day-to-day operational things. So really it kind of spans all price points. We work with first-time buyers up to the $10 million mansions and the celebrities. On the international side, obviously with Ashley, speaking fluent Japanese, we work the Japanese market pretty heavily here in Nashville. The auto industry here is really pulled a lot of Japanese companies here. There's some great ties between Nashville and Japan. So we do a lot of work with Nissan and some of the supporting companies as well. And again, it just depends on, what level of position in the company they have, what price point they're looking at. But it kind of runs the gamut. It's all over the board.
So if you're dealing with a high net worth individual, what needs do they have, or what mistakes do you see them making?
So a lot of times, privacy, confidentiality is something we have to look at. So we've got relationships with attorneys and financial people, and we can set up trust accounts and handle contracts in a way where we limit the exposure that someone has. A lot of times people don't want fans to know where they live, so we have to be very careful about who we're talking to and what kind of paperwork we're doing. Really, it's just about making sure you've got the right relationships in place with the right professionals and, protecting your interest.
Right. And, Nashville is a beautiful area. I was just there just a couple of months ago, and there's definitely some great areas of town. Are there any specific areas of town that you work mainly in?
We're really kind of all over the 10-county region. A lot of our business is Williamson County, Davidson County, Sumner County. We also do quite a bit in Rutherford and Wilson. Just kind of depends on what someone's looking for. We have people that are looking for an urban experience. We have people that are looking for something more suburban or rural. And certain price points make more sense in certain areas than others. The Japanese clientele very often wants to be down in the Franklin or Murfreesboro area, just because of proximity to certain services. There's a Japanese school in Murfreesboro, for example. So if they're on a rotation and they're going back to Japan in a few years, they want to make sure their kids stay up to speed, so that when they get back to the Japanese schools, they're not behind. So services like that, you just have to kind of be aware of, and helping people figure out the best locations to look.
So what should somebody know that they have to do? What kind of list of things would they have to do when they start working with a real estate agent? What kind of information do you need from them in order to get the process started?
On the buy side, we always recommend you start with a pre-approval. Obviously we have relationships with lenders and all sorts of vendors that we can put people in contact with. But that's kind of step one, just to make sure you understand, financially what you're looking at, what monies are going to be coming out of your pocket on a month to month basis. On the sell side, we like it when people call us very early on. We have some sellers that it may be a year before we go to market, because there are certain situations that sort of need to be resolved, or there's certain updates or upgrades that they want to make over time, and so we're always working with clients between transactions to help them make decisions on what's best to do and not to do in their homes in terms of a return on investment.
Now, as far as if somebody is moving home, do you suggest that they sell their other home first before buying a new one?
Just depends on the situation. There's some of our clients that that's not an issue. They certainly can afford to maintain more than one residence. So it's more of a convenience for them if they want to be able to make the transition without having to deal with showings and having to get out of the home for people to come see it. A lot of times we'll have people that'll move first. And then we'll come in and fully stage their previous home as a convenience. There are services that we also use. We actually did the first closing in Nashville with Ribbon Home, which is a sort of a variation on the whole iBuyer craze right now. So the iBuyers are pitching that they're going to buy your current home at a discount. It's no different than investor sales have always been. They've got to make a profit margin. So they're going to buy your current home at a discount so that you can get your equity out and buy your next home. Ribbon takes a slightly different approach. So they'll actually buy your next home as a cash buyer. So you can actually, if you don't have that financial ability, they give you the ability to have a stronger negotiating position as a cash buyer. And it also gives you time to sell your current property without having to try and time it. So there's lots of different scenarios. We really just have to individualize it to our clients' particular needs.
There's a lot of information out there on the internet, all these different big real estate websites. Now, the information that you get from them, as far as maybe an appraisal from for the home, or trying to find out how much that home is worth, are they accurate?
We get hit with those estimates every once in a while. I think people to a larger degree now than they used to understand that those are computer algorithms. They're not always going to be super accurate. There's even a disclaimer on Zillow that they can be off as much as 40%.
Wow.
Their CEO's property was off by 40% when he sold his property. So, you can't replace boots on the ground, someone that understands the market, someone that can physically go out and assess the condition of the property. And then, there's also scenarios, like I said, where we might be able to make some tweaks, do some slight modifications or updates or upgrades that completely changes the value of the home. So there's just way too many scenarios for a computer algorithm to be super accurate.
Yeah, so you really need somebody that really knows the local market, and I'm sure the appraiser should be from that local market as well, so that they
Absolutely.
give the right price. Now, tell me what you can really do to increase the value of your home to make sure that you are getting a high or even over asking price offer.
I mean, curb appeal is always important. You've got, just a few seconds to make that initial impression. So, we always tell our sellers, put yourself in the buyer's shoes, go stand out at the curb, take a look at your house as if you were, potentially going to buy it. And what do you see? And so, we're always, telling people to get rid of the lawn ornaments and trim the bushes, mulch, do all those kinds of things. Make sure that the paint looks good. There's no obvious maintenance issues. When people see even minor maintenance issues, they start to worry that there are other things that maybe the homeowner deferred. And so, they tend to worry unnecessarily. And even if you do get them to the offer table, it can be a bigger issue when you get to inspections than if you just taken care of those few little things on the front end. Inside a can of paint is it's cash money.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh paint is the easiest way you can maximize your value for sure. Obviously you want neutral tones. Someone comes in and it's very personalized. Buyers tend to think that the things cost a lot more than they do. Sellers tend to think they cost a lot less than they do. So, dealing with some of those things on the front end is always helpful. And then kitchens and bathrooms, are kind of the big items. So, we're always looking at the best we can show those areas, the common areas for staging. If updates need to be made, if we need to look at countertops, painting the cabinets, anything like that. And we're always looking to see how does it compare with competition. What's on the market right now, and what are the features you need to have to be competitive. What kinds of things can we do to make yours stand out? In addition to just general return on your investment.
Now, when it comes to bringing the offer to the table and doing all the paperwork, what are some things that you've seen that can really mess a transaction up, and how do you avoid those?
Again, a lot of it is just doing some things on the front end, making sure you really look at any kind of deferred maintenance issues. Inspections can derail a lot of closings. Finance issues are probably the number one thing that causes a transaction to fall apart. So just being diligent on the front end, making sure that the buyers are well qualified, and making sure that you've done your maintenance on your home. And if that means we need to bring someone in to crawl around in the crawl space and make sure we don't have any issues there, it's a whole lot better to do it on the front end than to wait for it to be a big red flag for the buyer.
Definitely. And these are all things that a good real estate agent will have their hand on, making sure that they all get done in time. Do you have a massive checklist, I suppose, that you go through to make sure all this is done?
We have a pretty insane checklist of action plans for every phase of the process. Whether it's the buy side or the sell side, it's pretty crazy, the amount of detail.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit more about CHORD Real Estate in Nashville and where you are planning to go in the next 5 years with your business.
Sure. So again, we developed the brand as a sports and entertainment and international brand. Our office is located on Music Row. So it was definitely a location we wanted to have. It's internationally known, and with kind of having that sports and entertainment branding, it was important to us. We definitely see ourselves as a boutique brokerage. We don't want to be a big box brokerage like some of the big franchises out there. I don't want hundreds of agents in my office. We like to keep it small, keep the culture the way it is, and really focus on the customer experience. And I think if you get too big, you start to lose some of that. You lose that control. So our individual offices will be kept relatively small, but the growth plan is to take the model to other sports and entertainment markets. So probably our next logical place is Atlanta, but we'll hit other sports and entertainment markets across the U.S. and hopefully globally eventually.
Well, when you are in Atlanta, you need to stop by and we'll have a coffee or something. There's definitely plenty of sports and entertainment in this city. So anyway, Steve, give us some information about how people can get in contact with you if they are looking to buy or sell their home in the Nashville area.
I mean, we try to make it as easy as possible. We're on pretty much all the social media channels at CHORD Real Estate. So you can look us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. We monitor those on a daily basis. So we're responding to clients on social all the time. Obviously, you can certainly call or email. Our office number is 615-988-1001. And our general email is info@chordrealestate.com, and CHORD is CHORD. Some people miss that H sometimes. It's a music chord.
Yeah. All right. Well, Steve, he's the co-founder of CHORD Real Estate in Nashville. Thank you very much for being my guest on the Trust Factor Radio today.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
And to our listening audience, if you like what you hear, hit that like button and share, and we'll see you next time on the show.
You've been listening to the Trust Factor Radio with Neil Howe. To learn about the resources mentioned in the show and to listen to past episodes, go to thetrustfactorradio.com. To get a copy of the book, The Trust Factor, go to thetrustfactorbook.com. If you are ready to act now and build your authority, credibility, and trust, schedule a consultation with Neil at theauthorityarchitect.com.